This is week number 3 of NOVAR season, as we are here at the Chicagoland Speedway for the Lumber Liquidtors 200, and here are some notes about what happened last week. Last week, the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series was the only cars on the track. Eddie Johns cruises to a dominant Atlantic City victory after leading 82 of the 164 laps in that event. Jacob Walterson was involved in a bad accident in the NOVAR Gatorade Series race. We have not received a medical condition status. We should hopefully get one prior to the Gatorade Series event next week at Mid-Ohio. And also, the week number 3, we've had a total of 5 races that happened prior to this one, with at 2 different tracks, Chicagoland being for the Razor Arrow, GameStop Trucks, and the Gatorade Series, while the Kellogg Northeast and the Freightliner All-Americans took on Loudon. We'll begin with the Loudon events, the first of which was at the All-American event. Mike Storm took the checkered flag, winning a completely uneventful event there, as Storm pretty much led the majority of that race. The Kellogg Northeast race was a very interesting race that actually had a battle between Michael Duncan and Luke Haverton, battling it out for about 30 laps, even though Duncan held the point for the majority of the event. Duncan was able to hold off a charge from Haverton to win a Crash Fest event at Loudon. As we are now at Chicagoland, the Razor Arrow Series, Jed Clanton wins the second race of the season for the Razor Arrow Series after he, I believe, held off a charge, and lap traffic was an issue throughout the weekend, and it actually proved in the Razor Arrow Series. The GameStop Truck Series, Darren Simpson took the checkered flag in the 108 lap event. And in the Gatorade Series, Nick Dawson won at Chicagoland in probably the most in a strange fashion, that midway through the race, Casey Johnson came down. Cameron Dunn, a lap car, came down on Casey Johnson. Johnson at the time was, I believe, running third. He came down and caused a wreck, which took a few cars out, and that wreck was actually being investigated. That's actually been the biggest wreck that happened throughout the weekend, as we should see what unfolds here in the Verizon Cup Series. Here are some track info and race notes. The Chicagoland Speedway is hosting its 12th event of its history here for the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series. The track distance is a 1.5-mile oval, or first of a few of them we'll see on the schedule. 134 laps, and our last year's winner was Chandler Blake in car number 15, as he won by holding off a charge from Jake Kierland in the latter portion of that race. Speaking of Jake Kierland wins the Aflac Puller. Walter Youth in car number 8, who has been extremely fast throughout the weekend, topping the charts of nearly every practice. Shane Nargan in car number 32 starts in 4th. George Davis with a very good qualifying run in 6th. We'll see other notable starters. Chandler Blake, last year's winner, starts 14th. James Wilson Jr., the fastest car in the second group, starts 19th. CJ Gordon gets a provisional in 22nd spot, as we have 3 rookies starting the field. That being Slava Torres starts 27th, Ethan Littinger starts 32nd, and Tobias Newbridge starts 34th. And our other provisional, Ryan Pearson, will start last in the 42nd spot. So here, as we take the start here at Chicago, Jake Kierland on the inside, the green flag is out, and looks like Walter Youth in the 8 is already hanging with that 76, and I believe that's probably the best start of the entire weekend by pretty much any driver, as Youthen is already hanging with that 76 as we head down the back straightaway, as the car number 8 of Walter Youthen still holding on that outside line. Kierland still has the preferred line going into 3 and 4. Jay Honori, Shane Nargan also back there. Kierland runs the middle. Walter tries to run it high, and looks like Kierland's getting with that middle line. There's Youthen bouncing into the wall, and Jake Kierland, car number 76, takes the lead very early in this race. Jay Honori already going under the 32 of Shane Nargan. Cody White in the 22 is also following that 01, as we appear to see that the 70s looks like Honori settled back in line with behind the 8 of Walter Youthen, and the 01 looks like the 22 looks like Nargan has gotten back around the 22 Cody White. But meanwhile, a few moments later, Walter Youthen car number 8 would charge back to the 76 of Jake Kierland, and Youthen car number 8 is going to go to the inside. The 8 has the line, just like what Kierland had early in the race. Youthen goes to the bottom. Doesn't exactly clear Kierland just yet. And Youthen's, I believe, going to lead that lap, while Jalen Norrie in car number 01 still hanging on to the bottom. As there you see, Youthen in the 8 has now cleared the 76 for the lead. Jalen Norrie in car number 01 already trying to go to the bottom. We'll go a little bit more later. Shane Nargan in the 32 is going to go, as Hunter Norrie Youthen is still battling there. 3 wide out of 4. Youthen into the wall. And it appears Nargan's going to use the apron to try to take the lead, and he does, as Nargan is now in the race lead, as He has the bottom line going to the 1. Doesn't appear Ononori will have a chance to retake the lead right back as Nargan is in the lead. So Silver Green Racing, they have all their cars in the top 10. One Silver Green Racing car that's not going to have a good day. That's Casey Lester, the 12. It's turned into the outside wall by Tony Wider. First caution lap 5. There you see Ethan Littinger. Another Silver Green Racing car gets collected. We'll see he just gets drilled by the 23 of Corey Von Dugga. And then Tobias Newbridge at car number 96. Nowhere to go. So a rough start to the season for both rookies of Newbridge and Littinger. As both of them go out of the race. Casey Lester will also follow the race as well. Shane Nargan, car number 32, led on the restart with Jay Ononori in second. And Jake Hill in third. Walter Youthman, I believe, pitted under that caution. David Scott, car number 18, fourth. Justin Klinkson in fifth. There you see the 32 of Nargan. Simply already trying to get a decent-sized gap over Ononori. Looks like Killen's now going to try to go to the bottom of Ononori. And Ononori was going to attempt to take the lead away, but Killen got there quicker. As looks like Killen's going to take the second spot away. David Scott, car number 18, is going to follow suit. As Nargan's still going to hang it to the bottom line. There you see Walter Youthman gets into the wall. Gets a hard crash for car number 14. Gets hit hard again by Chris Devon. A scary accident on lap 14. As Warren just apparently hit an opening in the hit wall. Let's take a look at it. It looks like Ronald Portland hits the 14, and then the 14 just hit an opening there. The race would be red flagged for quite some time on lap number 15 to get the repairs going to that wall. We don't know Luke Warren's medical condition, but we hope it's okay. Vicious crash with Brian Dawson as well, and at 64. So that's a hard crash for everything. As here we have Chris Devon in the 06, also took a hard shot into the 14 Luke Warren. There you see, he actually gets hit by Corey Von Dugga as well. So Jake Killen in car number 76 leads on this restart lap 18. After about a 1 hour red flag delay, Shane Harden, car number 59, gets second. Chris Clark at the 56, third spot, and David Scott still running at fourth. Harden and Clark actually were very strong at Columbia the last time he ran on the cookie cutter. Harden actually winning the race, while Chris Clark was one of the favorites to win that race before being taken out in a crash somewhere around the middle of the race. As there you see Harden the 59 still trying to lurk to that bottom. Harden has not won here at Chicagoland, and I believe he has yet to win a race. He actually did have a good car at Atlantic City, but was involved in many wrecks to the point where he couldn't really show what he did. We would have a third caution lap 22. Ryan Pearson gets turned into the wall by his own teammate Caroline Salvatores. The two had hit that out so long. Initially didn't bring up the caution, but after the two came to a complete stop, he came and brought the caution out. Damon Scott, car number 18, leads on the restart with Cody White, car number 22, and Gordon Miller, car number 91, running third. Walter Youthman in 8 has already clawed his way up back to fourth, and Austin Warren in the 3 is running in fifth. There you see Shane Nargan of 32. Nargan actually had issues on pit road, and actually was hit by somebody. I think it was Jason Duke that I believe he was hit. But Nargan would actually still be quite in contention despite being 2 laps down. Cody White on the 22. Right now in second. There you see Gordon Billard, car number 91 is third. Billard's donning different colors in that number 91, donning the MEM's colors. Last year, towards the end of last season, Red Bull's contract kind of fell out, and as a result, the Mars Wrigley brand, which they actually have a couple of sponsors, they actually were notable for sponsoring the 20 car for a few years, and also I believe the 18 and the 12 for Silver Green Racing for the past few years. As a result, the entire team bought out, and they actually have different brands, MEM being the particular sponsor for this 91 car. As Billard, his 2014 season wasn't exactly, to say, at least great, but so far, Gordon Billard's still having a good day. His season hasn't exactly gotten off to a good start like what people have said, but Billard is running in the third spot. There you see Walter Youthman, car number 8, has caught the group. Walter Youthman has actually been very strong throughout the weekend. He was actually the favorite going into this weekend to possibly win the race. There you see Cody White on the 22, slides it up the track a little bit, and Walter Youthman, the 8, is going to try to take advantage of that, but he's going to take to the lead. As we have our next caution unfolding, there you see Jonathan Winslow gets turned by Matt Hamlin, gets hit by his own teammate IJ Jr., backs into the wall again. So Jonathan Winslow, who had a very good run in Atlantic City, doesn't really have a good run here, as he gets involved in a wreck. Walter Youthman, car number 8, leads on this restart on lap 50. Cody White gets second. Mike Hogan, car number 17, who started, I believe, second and dead last. He's already clawed his way up back to third. Scott Johnson, car number 58, is in 4th. Chandler Blake, number 15, is 5th. So 3 of the 5 cars are Ease Racing, as Ease Racing, just like what they've done in the past series, they have jumped out of the gun and have basically been very strong, as I believe Hogan's already gotten around Cody White in the 22, and now Mike Hogan in that 17 is trying to close in on that 8 of Walter Youth. Hogan, who had struggled in his last season with Tyson Bell Racing, he has just been fantastic so far this year for Ease Racing, along with the team itself, as you see Walter Youth in 8 has been up there. Chandler Blake won at Dentsville, as he actually didn't really have a great race at Atlantic City, was involved in a wreck somehow about a quarter of the way through the race. But there you see Mike Hogan in car number 17. He's going to try to go to the bottom, and Houston runs the car up wide, and Mike Hogan in the 17 is going to lead for, I believe, the 3rd time this season in 3 races. So that's how good this 17 of Mike Hogan's been, as since he moved over from Tyson Bell Racing, which ran Toyotas, now back with a Chevy, and now he's already getting a good start to the season. As we have our 3rd caution, though, as we have another caution, Caroline Salvatore just pulls in front of Chandler Blake. Another lap car causing a caution, and almost at a very similar stance to what happened with Cameron Dunn in the Gatorade Series event, as you see a couple of cars just barely make it by. Jake Carroll, car number 76, led on the restart, with Jason Duke in the 66 in second. CJ Gordon in 3rd, your points leader going into this weekend. We haven't really talked about him throughout the entire day, as Gordon's been running about mostly around 20th for most of the event, but now has somehow clawed his way up back to the front, as there you see 4th is, I believe, Sean McDowell in car number 10. I believe the 5th spot is going to be, couldn't really tell there. I think that was David Scott in the 18. Jake Killen in the 76, already trying to get away to a good-sized lead, as there you see the 48 of CJ Gordon is struggling with that 35 of Tony Wider, who is a lap down, as Killen, who started on the pole, led a good portion of the early portion. We would have Jason Duke would eventually fall back, and on lap 92 we get collected with a wreck on Martingillo. Martingillo, I believe, was trying to get a run into him, lost it, and got into Jason Duke. That's just simple enough to say. Jason Duke gets hit by the 0-0 of Jonathan Winslow. Let's take a look from Winslow's perspective. He just gets hit from the 0-0, and then Gordon Billard, car number 91. Not Billard, who had a very strong start to the race, would now suffer damage. We will have a restart on lap 96. Alan Kimmel in the 88, leaving on the restart. Chris Clark in the 56 second. Mike Dace Jr., despite getting damage from an earlier caution, still running in 3rd. However, I believe the 09 didn't really exactly get the good restart he wanted, as Chris Clark in the 56 is trying to get under the 88 Alan Kimmel. Clark trying to searching for his first victory of the season, is trying to get to the bottom of this racetrack, as I believe we do have a couple of wins, others that we have this season. We actually are heading to a cookie cutter next week. There you see Kimmel on the wall, as Chris Clark has taken the lead. Clark would build on to a pretty sizable lead from this point on, as Clark would actually be the man of the field for pretty much the second half of this race, as he would just basically pull away from the rest of this pack. There you see Chadwick Blake and Jake Killen have already gotten by that 80 of Alan Kimmel. But we have several laps later, the 56 of Chris Clark would come up on lap traffic. He actually had Nargan part of his lap traffic. Nargan actually did catch up to them, as there you see Chadwick Blake in 15. There you see the lap car of Sean McDowell in the 10, as Clark tries to go around on the outside. That does not work. Chadwick Blake's going to take the lead. Mike Hogan's going to follow the 15, and Hogan in the 17 is going to follow suit for 2nd. Shane Hart in the 59 3rd. Damon Scott in the 18 is also going to follow suit. So tough break for Chris Clark in the 56, as Clark's going to fall way back there, as there you see the new top 3 right there, as Chadwick Blake, Mike Hogan, and Shane Harden. As we would have an incident happen towards the back of this field, but they would not bring out a caution. Ronald Portland gets into James Wilson Jr., which gets into Nate Dunnigan. The 11 spins down the track, but saves the car, as the 11 keeps it ongoing. No yellow flag for that. Meanwhile, as Shane Harden, 59, is about to try to take the lead, is right now holding the line with the 18 Damon Scott. Walter Yithin in the 8 is going to get by for 2nd, and the 18 of Damon Scott, this is for the race lead. Yithin might get the lead in just 2 turns, but doesn't get it right there, as the 18 of Damon Scott currently still holds the line. We got a wreck in the back, as we saw smoke there in the back. We'll have to see what that is. And there you see Walter Yithin in the 8th completing the pass. That does bring out a yellow flag, but we'll have to check out what that is. There you see the lap car of Sean McDowell in the 10, as Yithin just gets by, but as this is the race back to the caution, as this one came out on lap number 92. There you see the smoke resulting from that caution, and we'll see what happens here. Looks like Walter looks like Shane Nargan cuts down on Mike Hogan, gets hit from the 28 of Matt Hamlin, and the 32 rides the wall a little bit, as that's going to be a tough break for the 32 of Nargan. Nargan, despite running 2 laps down, was still hanging on with the leaders, as we would take the restart on lap 122, as there you see Shane Harden in the 59 trying to get a good restart out of this, as Chad LeBlake doesn't really get a good restart. Walter Ethan would hang on to the lead, and the ending would kind of be similar to Atlantic City, unfortunately. Walter Ethan would hang on to the race lead, as there you see he's already pulling out to a decent-sized gap over Walter Ethan. Several laps later, Scott Johnson would eventually get by the 59 of Shane Harden. Walter Ethan in the 8 showed some really good strong points in the season last year. Would have actually been a title contender, however, he had a very poor start to 2014. So far, 2013 has kind of been a pleasant surprise. Had a good finish at Atlantic City, had a good finish at Denville, didn't really have a good finish at Atlantic City, and now he's on his way to his first regular victory. He has problems with the 10 of Sean McDowell. The 15 of Johnson's trying to go high, but Johnson gets stuck behind, as Houston just apparently got right under the 10 at the perfect time. Meanwhile, Harden the 59 is trying to close in on both of these guys. Houston running the middle line, Johnson's trying to close in, Harden's trying to go for second, doesn't matter anyways. Walter Houston and Carter Ray is going to win here at Chicagoland, with Scott Johnson in second and Shane Harden gets third. So despite a late charge by Scott Johnson, Walter Ethan wins here at Chicagoland for his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series win. Scott Johnson, car number 58, gets the second spot. Shane Harden, 59, gets third. Harden came very close to passing, could have actually passed Johnson and Ethan, however, the time run was not really perfect. Chris Clark was able to hold off Chad LeBlake at the stripe. He finishes 4th for a pretty good finish for car number 56. Clark might be a contender at the Cookie Cutters, which we have few, as Clark was a dominant car throughout the Columbia weekend. However, was involved in that race. Chad LeBlake in car number 15 finishes 5th in car number 15. CJ Gordon, 3 races, 3 top 10s for car number 48 of CJ Gordon. 7th is Jake Killen in car number 76. He led the second most laps with 21. IJ Jr. car number 09 finishes 8th. Mike Hogan in car number 17 comes from the back to front, and he finishes 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Nick Dunnigan, who in his second start of the season gets his second top 10. So now I'll look at your point standings. CJ Gordon in car number 48. He still has an 18-point lead over Shane Harden. After Harden finishes 3rd, Gordon finishes in the top 10. The lead stays here. CJ Gordon is only one of 4 drivers to have completed at least 80% of the laps. The other 3 are Shane Harden, the second place man in points, the number 11 of James Wilson Jr., who's completed 82%, and the only other driver is Jason Duke, car number 66. He has 88% of laps completed. Our Shane Harden, as I mentioned, is in second in points. Chad LeBlake, car number 15, 3rd in points, 26 points back from CJ Gordon. IJ Jr. doesn't really gain any spots. He is 4th. Chad LeBlake gained 2 spots to 5th. Walter Ethan gains 20 spots to 5th. 6th is James Jr. gains 2 spots to 6th. 7th is Nick Dunnigan, who gains 8 spots to 7th. Mike Hogan in car number 17 gains 20 spots to 8th. Kyrie Ethan gains 4 spots to 9th. And Ryan Pearson is the only driver in the top 10 to lose spots and stay in the top 10. He loses 7 spots for the 10th position. And now 11 through 20, Mark Mangillo gains 6 spots to 11th, 59 points back. Jason Duke in car number 66, despite completing 88% of the laps, he is 60 points behind the points leader, CJ Gordon. Tony Weider, car number 35, gains 3 spots to 13th. Chris Clark is our big winner of, I believe, the top 30, as he's one of the big winners of the top 30. He gains 35 spots to 14th. Shane Nargan loses 3 spots to 15th. He is 55 points back. He's tied up with Damon Scott and Jay Honore for the 15th spot. Damon Scott is in 16th. Jay Honore is in 17th. Justin Klingston is 18th in points. 19th is Scott Harper, and Eddie Johns, the last week's winner, falls 14 spots to 20th. And now we'll take a look at our race recap. We have 7 cautions for 28 laps. Our hard charger was our 9th place finish, Mike Hogan, who started 41st and gains 32 spots to finish 9th. Our lap leader was Walter Yuthin, marking the first time since 2004 that the first 3 winners of the season have led most laps in all 3 of those races. We have had 12 leaders for 29 laps, and the margin of victory was 0.08 of a second. Week 4 of the NOVAR Series will be all over the place, as our main event will be the Gatorade Series, taking race number 3 at Mid-Ohio, the Verizon Cup Series, and off. The Trucks and Aero Series will be in Colorado, although 2 different places. The Trucks will be at Colorado, while the Aero Series will be at Colorado. The Lowe's Modified will be at USA International. The Dirt Tour will be at Dakota Fairgrounds, and the European Tour will be at Saitama in Japan for race number 2 of the European Tour. We'd like to congratulate Walter Yuthin on scoring his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series race here at Chicagoland, and we will see you in 2 weeks when the Verizon Cup Series tackles Las Vegas in week number 5.